Hey, Redemption Church. It's been a little while since we did video devotionals, but I'm back flying solo this week and I have a very cheery, upbeat subject to talk about trials. Trials. Not court trials, as bad as those are. No, trials that you and I go through, those seasons of hardship that are uniquely designed for you. And the reason I say uniquely designed for you is because someone's trial is another person's not so much of a trial. Maybe you've heard this before. You talk to a friend, I'm really going through it. I don't know, what's your problem? It's a big deal. For you, it's a big deal. And we all go through them. Trials take on various shapes. They come in various forms. Just four that I can rattle off the top of my head: financial trials, relational trials, emotional trials, physical trials. And trials are hard no matter what season of life we're in. But especially right now, as we're going through this really unprecedented time for most of us in our country. No one's gone through what we're all experiencing right now with the coronavirus and civil unrest, the likes of which we haven't seen in years. Trials. And here's why we need to talk about trials as not cheery and not as upbeat as that is. After a long season of pastoral ministry, hearing the heart and the cry of a lot of people, many that I've talked to about this is their number one reason why they doubt God, number one reason why they doubt His goodness, number one reason why wondering about whether God is going to come through and rescue them. They have problems with that. For friends of mine that were formerly identifying themselves as believing Christians and they've walked away from the faith, the number one reason they give: trials and suffering. If God was so good, why is this happening? What purpose is this? So it's important for us to talk about the reality of trials, when they happen. What do we do? Let me read to you John chapter 16, verse 33. Jesus, as He's walking towards the cross, not just figuratively, but literally, in just a couple of chapters from John, Jesus is hanging on the cross. And He has just told them about the work of the Holy Spirit who will be coming to comfort them and guide them and teach them. And He says these words: I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation. Some of your translations would say trouble or hardship, tribulation. But take heart, I have overcome the world. Interesting timing for Jesus, right before He goes to the cross. Talk about the most significant of all hardships. So Jesus knows what it's like to suffer through trials, whether a COVID-19 season or just whatever season of life. So why? Why do we have these trials? Why do we suffer through them? Spiritually, emotionally, relationally, physically, financially. Why we suffer through these trials? Well, unlike so many different religions and belief systems, where we even have culturalized one of them and talk about karma, God has a redemptive purpose in these trials. And as we're going to jump into later in the week, we're going to be taking a look at what James is going to say to us about trials and what Peter is going to say to us about trials. Two Very, very different men, but approaching trials from a redemptive perspective that we'll uncover together. Trials, even though it's hard to see, even though it is really, really long in coming to fruition, there's a redemptive purpose behind the trials we have. Trials grow our trust in the goodness and greatness of God. And I bet if you take a moment and just walk back through a few of the hardships in your life, and you look back with the lens of hindsight, which is a good thing, you can tell, wow, even though it was a really hard season, God showed me this. Or God refined me, just like gold to a fire. You get all the impurities go away. God did this because of this trial. I would have never done that had that not happened. And that doesn't necessarily make this present trial you may be going through easier by any means. But if you know at the end of the trial that God is doing a work, it does help to endure. It does. So today, and maybe even this week, begin asking God, not why. I remember my friend Bill Himmel said this a long time ago in a sermon. It has stuck with me. When you're going through trials, don't ask God, why is this happening? Instead, maybe ask a more productive question. What? What do you want me to learn about you? What is it that you want to deposit in me as a result of this? What is it that you're wanting to take out of me because of this? Help me not to waste this trial, but let's use this trial for its full effect. So trials, those hardships unique to you, and take on all various types, forms, and shapes. The good news is that if you're in Jesus Christ, these trials, they help. As hard as it is to swallow that truth, it is true. Trials help you grow your trust in a good and a great God. I can't wait to jump in to see how James helps to inform us and transform the way we look at the trials that we go through. Have a great week, Redemption. We'll see you Wednesday.